My name is Laura Scott. I'm 23 years old. 7 days after I graduated with my master's degree, my father stood up at my celebration dinner in front of 120 guests and said, "Laura, raising you cost us $214,000. You've been expensive. It's time you paid us back." He hit play on a slideshow, 14 pages. Every diaper I wore, every school lunch I ate, every birthday gift they wasted on me. Itemized, totaled, projected on a screen for everyone to see. Then he slid a legal document across the table, a promissory note. $5,000 a month. Sign it now. I picked up the pen. My hand was shaking. Then my brother Connor, the golden boy, the one they actually loved, stood up so fast his chair hit the marble floor. "Dad, tell them the truth, or I will." The smirk on my father's face vanished because what Connor was about to reveal didn't just expose my parents. It shattered everything I thought I knew about who I was. Hit like and subscribe right now and comment where you're watching from. You're going to need to remember this moment. I should start by telling you that I always knew I was different. Not in some vague metaphorical way. I mean different in a way you can see in photographs, measure in birthday presents, count in the seconds it takes for your mother to look away when you walk into a room. "You have your father's eyes," relatives would say to Connor at family gatherings. To me, they'd say nothing. Or worse, "Laura, you're so different from the rest of the family." I have hazel green eyes, dark brown hair. I'm 5 feet 6 inches. My father Michael and mother Elizabeth both have blue eyes, light brown hair, almost blonde. Connor, my older brother, looks exactly like them. Blue eyes, blonde, 6 feet 1 inch by the time he was 16. I used to study our family photos. The Christmas ones from 2008 still sit on the mantle in their house in Plano. Connor stands in the center, my parents' hands resting on his shoulders. I'm at the edge of the frame. Always at the edge. I told myself it was just genetics. Random chance. I never thought to ask, why don't I look like anyone? The difference wasn't just physical. It was everything. Connor's 21st birthday in May 2019. A BMW 3 Series, $45,000 paid in cash. They threw him a party at the country club with 200 guests. My 21st birthday in December 2023, a $50 Visa gift card and dinner at Olive Garden. Just the 4 of us. My mother spent most of the meal on her phone. Connor went to UT Austin for undergrad from 2016 to 2020, then law school from 2020 to 2023. $130,000 in tuition. They paid every cent. I went to UT Austin for my undergrad starting in 2020. $38,000 in student loans. I worked 3 jobs. Starbucks barista, library assistant, weekend nanny. When I got into the MSW program in 2023, I took out another $62,000 in loans, $100,000 total. My parents didn't contribute a dime. "Connor, we're so proud of you," my mother said when he got into UT Law. "Laura, you'll figure something out," she said when I got into the same school for my master's program. I convinced myself I wasn't trying hard enough. That if I just worked harder, achieved more, maybe they'd finally see me the way they saw Connor. My undergraduate GPA was 3.88. Dean's List all 4 years. I won a departmental award for my thesis on attachment theory and foster care systems. My graduate GPA was 3.92. My master's thesis was titled Adoption Trauma and Identity Formation in Adolescence. I interviewed 40 adopts about feeling othered in their families. I had no idea I was writing about myself. Connor's graduation announcement went to 200 people. Mine went to 12. When I got my job offer in December, child therapist at Austin Family Counseling, $58,000 a year, starting March 2026, I called my parents, breathless with excitement. "That's nice, dear," my mother said. Connor just made associate at his firm. I wrote my thesis on adoption trauma, and I was too blind to see that I was studying my own story. But there were other signs, smaller things. I'd trained myself not to notice. When I was 16, I needed my birth certificate for a passport application. "It's lost," my mother said. "We'll handle it." They did. I never saw it. At 19, a university health form required family medical history. I emailed my mother. "Any history of diabetes, heart disease, mental illness?" Her response? Nothing significant. Stop worrying so much. At 14, we had a family tree project in school. I couldn't fill in my grandparents' information beyond their names. No photos, no stories. When I asked, my mother got irritated. We're not a family that dwells on the past, Laura. At 21, I developed anxiety bad enough that I asked about family mental health history. You're just stressed, my father said. I was always just stressed, just difficult, just different. Connor was the only one who ever defended me. When I was 16 and crying after another fight with our mother, he sat next to me on my bed. Laura, you're my sister, he said. Don't let them make you feel like you're less. I didn't know then how literally true that would become. Connor moved away for college in 2016. We talked less. He'd come home for holidays, welcomed like royalty while I cooked and cleaned, and tried to be invisible enough not to disappoint anyone. He didn't come home for my high school graduation in 2020. Too busy with law school finals, he said. For his law school graduation in 2023, our whole family flew to Austin. 3-day celebration, dinners, photos, pride. Connor was the golden child. I was the afterthought, and I spent 23 years believing that was just how families worked. December 13th, 2025, Friday, my graduation from UT Austin's MSW program. It rained that morning, light, cold 52 degrees. I wore my black gown with the green honors stole and a pair of secondhand heels I'd bought at Goodwill. Laura Scott, Master of Social Work, specialization in child and family therapy. I walked across the stage at Darrell K. Royal Stadium. Connor was there. He'd taken the day off work, driven 3 hours and 20 minutes from Dallas. My roommate, Jessica, came. My thesis advisor, Dr. Brennan. They cheered when I got my diploma. My parents didn't come. We'll celebrate at the dinner next week. My mother had said, graduation ceremonies are so long. After the ceremony, Connor hugged me. I'm proud of you, he whispered. Then he pulled back and his face was strange, tense. Laura, we need to talk. After the dinner, it's important. He looked scared. I should have asked why, but I was too happy, too relieved to finally be done. I let it go. Connor gave me a leather-bound journal engraved with Dr. Laura Scott. Aspirational, he said. I cried. The next day, December 14th, my mother texted, Laura, we're hosting your graduation celebration at the mansion at Turtle Creek. Friday, December 20th, 7:00 p.m. We've invited the whole family, plus some friends and your new boss, Dr. Hernandez. We want everyone to see how proud we are of you. Dress nicely. This is a big night, Mom. I read it 3 times. The mansion at Turtle Creek, one of the most expensive venues in Dallas. My parents had never thrown me a party. Not one. Not for my undergrad graduation, not for my 21st birthday, not for anything. 120 guests, my mother said on the phone. Extended family, their country club friends, my boss. Laura, this feels weird, Jessica said when I showed her the text. Your parents barely acknowledged your undergrad graduation. Why the huge party now? I wanted to believe they'd finally changed. That maybe after 23 years, they decided I was worth celebrating. I ignored every red flag. Connor was acting strange. Our family group chat had been active for days. My mother posting about the dinner. My father talking about a special presentation. Connor's read receipts showed he'd seen every message, but he wasn't responding. December 16th, I called him. Connor, you're still coming, right? 12 hours later, he texted back. Yeah, I'll be there. That wasn't like him. Connor usually responded within an hour. He sounded distracted when I finally got him on the phone. I'm dealing with something at work, he said. I'll explain Friday, December 16th. I also got an email from Dr. Patricia Hernandez, my new boss. Laura, on behalf of Austin Family Counseling, I'm thrilled to officially offer you the child therapist position starting March 2nd, 2026. Salary $58,000 per year, plus benefits. Your practicum work was exceptional, and your thesis on adoption trauma shows the kind of insight our clients need. Welcome to the team. I called my parents immediately. That's great, honey. My mother said, we'll talk about it at dinner. No congratulations, no excitement. Just we'll talk about it at dinner. Connor texted me, Laura, that's amazing. You're going to change lives. I mean it. On December 19th, the night before the dinner, I couldn't sleep. I tried on 4 dresses before settling on a navy blue midi dress I'd borrowed from Jessica. I practiced a thank you speech in the mirror. I just want to say thank you to everyone who believed in me. At 11:52 p.m. Connor texted Laura, "Whatever happens tomorrow night, know that I love you and I'm sorry." I stared at the message. Sorry for what? I texted back. What do you mean? No response. I walked into the mansion on December 20th, thinking it was my celebration. I had no idea it was my execution. The mansion at Turtle Creek sits in uptown Dallas, all glass and marble and chandeliers. My parents had reserved the terrace, a private dining room that holds 150 people, floor-to-ceiling windows, crystal chandeliers, classical music playing softly through hidden speakers. The room was set up in a U-shape with a head table facing everyone else. My seat was at the center of the head facing 120 guests. A projector screen loomed behind me. Laura, over here, my mother waved from the entrance. She wore a cocktail dress that cost more than my monthly rent. My father stood beside her in a tailored suit, smiling like a politician at a fundraiser. I saw Connor at the bar alone, nursing a glass of whiskey. He looked pale. There was a manila folder sitting on the bar next to him, thick labeled. When our eyes met, he mouthed, "We need to talk." Before I could reach him, my mother grabbed my arm. "Come say hello to everyone, Laura. They're all here for you." The way she said "for you" made my skin crawl. I circulated, smiled, thanked people. Aunt Diane, my father's sister, hugged me. "I'm so glad your parents are finally giving you the recognition you deserve." She had no idea. The guest list was a mix of extended family and strangers. Michael's 3 siblings and their families. Elizabeth's mother, Grandma Helen, who was 79 and still sharp as a knife. Elizabeth's 2 sisters, 8 cousins I barely knew, the Cartwrights, the Hendersons, the Baileys, all country club friends of my parents, and Dr. Hernandez, my boss. She stood near the windows, looking uncomfortable in the opulence. I realized with growing horror, these were my people. I hadn't invited anyone. This was my parents' audience, and I was about to become their cautionary tale. At 7:30, my father stood up, tapped his glass. The room fell silent. "Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us to celebrate our daughter Laura's achievement, a master's degree in social work." We couldn't be prouder. Applause. Polite. Scattered. Laura has always been determined, independent. From the day she came into our lives, we knew she was special. I caught that. Came into our lives. Not was born. It was a strange way to phrase it. A few guests glanced at each other confused. "And tonight," my father continued, "we want to talk about what it takes to raise a child to be successful. The investment, the sacrifice." He paused, looked at me, and smiled. "Laura, raising you cost us $214,000. You've been expensive. It's time you paid us back." The room went cold. He clicked a remote. The lights dimmed. The projector screen behind me lit up with a title slide in bold red letters. The investment, Laura Elizabeth Scott, 2002 to 2025. I couldn't breathe. Page 1 appeared. Baby years, 2002 to 2004. Diapers, formula, crib, stroller, medical, $8,200. There was a photo of me as a baby in a crib. Page 2, preschool and elementary school, 2004 to 2012. Tuition, supplies, field trips, $42,000. Page 3, private school tuition, K-2, 2007 to 2020. St. Mark's Preparatory, $156,000. My father narrated each slide. 8 minutes. 8 minutes of itemized childhood expenses. Each one landing like a punch. Page 5. Extracurriculars. Piano lessons. Quit after 2 years.
Soccer.
Quit after 1 season.
Debate team.
$6,800. The parentheticals made it sound like I was a quitter. The truth. They pulled me from piano when Connor needed money for a car. They pulled me from soccer when they decided to renovate the kitchen. Page 7. Family vacations, 2008 to 2019. Cruises, Disney Europe. Cost per person, including Laura, $12,800. Including Laura. Like I was a burden they generously allowed to tag along. Page 11. College contribution 2020 to 2023. $3,900.
A lie.
I'd had scholarships and loans. They'd contributed maybe $500 total, and that was for a used laptop. Page 13. Graduate school contribution 2023 to 2025. 0. Presented as if I'd chosen to take out loans, not that they'd refused to help. Page 14. Total investment, $214,000. The number hung there in bold red. The room was silent. I could hear my own heartbeat. Dr. Hernandez was shaking her head. Aunt Diane's mouth was open. Grandma Helen was crying silently. Connor stood at the back of the room, gripping the edge of a table. His knuckles were white. My father turned to face me. He was still smiling. We're not asking for gratitude. We're asking for accountability. This is a promissory note for $214,000 payable at $5,000 per month over 60 months, with 6% annual interest. He slid a document across the table toward me. 2 pages legal pre-printed with my name. It's a fair deal, Laura. You're starting a $58,000 a year job. You can afford this. The math didn't work. $58,000 a year was about $3,500 a month after taxes. $5,000 a month in repayment plus my $1,100 student loan payment plus rent would leave me with nothing, less than nothing. But I'd spent 23 years doing whatever it took to make them love me. I picked up the pen. My hand was shaking. Sign it now, my father said. Dr. Hernandez stood up. This is unconscionable. This is family business, Dr. Hernandez. My father cut her off. Please sit down. I put the pen on the signature line. Then Connor's chair scraped against marble. The sound echoed through the silent room like a gunshot. He stood so fast the chair tipped over, hitting the floor with a crack. Dad, he said, his voice was shaking. Tell them the truth or I will. The smirk on my father's face vanished. Connor walked toward the front of the room. He was carrying that manila folder.
Connor, sit down, my father said.
This doesn't concern you.
It concerns me more than you know, Dad.
Connor's voice cracked. Because I'm the one who got rich off Laura's stolen money. He opened the folder, pulled out a document, held it up so the room could see. Laura, he looked at me. I'm so sorry you have to find out like this, but you need to know the truth. He held the document up to the projector light. The county's seal was visible. Official notarized. This is your adoption decree. Travis County, Texas, March 22nd, 2003. You were adopted when you were 3 months old. The room exploded. Gasps, shouts.
What?
She's adopted? Aunt Diane to my mother. You never told us. I couldn't hear any of it. I was underwater drowning. Adopted. I was adopted. Every question I'd ever had about why I didn't belong suddenly had an answer. Connor wasn't done. Your biological mother's name is Rachel Morrison, he said. Baby girl Morrison. That was your name before they changed it to Laura Elizabeth Scott. He pulled out another stack of documents. Thick, heavy. Your biological mother didn't abandon you. She and her parents, your biological grandparents, they paid for you every month for 18 years, $2,400 a month. They redirected her college fund, her parents' retirement savings. All of it went to making sure you had a good life. He held up bank statements, pages and pages of them. From January 2003, when you were 1 month old, until December 2020, when you turned 18. That's $216 months. That's $518,400. The number hit me like a physical blow. $518,400. This money was supposed to give you a good life, Connor said, his voice broke. Instead, Mom and Dad used it to pay for my law school, to buy investment properties, to fund their lifestyle. And then he looked at our parents. They made a slideshow asking you to pay them back. The room erupted. Dr. Hernandez was on her feet. This is fraud. Aunt Diane shouted at my father. You've been lying for 23 years, stealing from her own family. Country club friends were backing away from the head table. Several guests stood and headed for the exits. My father tried to speak. That money was legally ours as adoptive parents. Multiple people shouted him down. Connor pulled out one more document. 4 pages handwritten.
There's more, he said.
He started reading. Dear Laura, if you're reading this, you're 21 now and legally an adult. I've wanted to reach out for so long, but I promised your parents I'd wait until you were grown. I've thought about you every single day since I held you in the hospital for those 2 hours before they took you. My parents, your biological grandparents, they passed away in 2019. They never got to meet you, but they loved you so much. They gave up their retirement to make sure you had a good life. Connor's voice was shaking. I'm writing because I'd love to meet you if you're willing. No pressure, just coffee. I don't want to disrupt your life, but I'd love to know you're okay. My number is below. My email, I've been in Austin since 2020. I'm 3 hours away. Please, if you want to know me, I'm here. I've always been here. Love, Rachel. He looked up. This letter is dated June 18th, 2024. Postmarked June 20th, 2024. Addressed to Laura Scott, care of Michael and Elizabeth Scott. He turned to our parents. I found this in Dad's office safe last month. They never gave it to you, Laura. She's been waiting for 1.5 years for you to respond. She thinks you don't want to meet her. Aunt Diane was screaming now. This is beyond cruel. You kept her from her own mother. Grandma Helen sobbing. Elizabeth, that poor woman has been waiting. I looked at my parents, the people who raised me, the people I'd spent 23 years trying to please. And all I could think was, you kept my mother from me. You took her money and my grandparents' retirement, and then you tried to make me pay you back for it. I stood up, dropped the pen on the promissory note. The room went quiet. I've spent 23 years believing I wasn't good enough for you, I said. My voice was steady, cold, that I owed you, that I should be grateful you tolerated me. I looked at them, really looked at them. I don't owe you anything. I never did, because you were being paid the whole time. $2,400 every single month by a mother who loved me enough to give me up and grandparents who gave up their future so I could have one. I picked up Connor's folder. All the documents were mine now. You didn't invest in me. You profited off me. There's a difference. Dr. Hernandez put her arm around me. Let's get you out of here. Connor looked at our parents one last time. I'm done.
Don't contact me.
Don't contact Laura. You're on your own. And when the family asks me what happened tonight, I'm telling them everything with receipts. Behind us, as we walked out, I heard Aunt Diane's voice. I'm calling everyone. They need to know what you did. And Grandma Helen, you're not my daughter anymore, Elizabeth. I walked out of the mansion at 9:47 p.m. on December 20th, 2025. And for the first time in my life, I walked away knowing I didn't owe them my presence. I didn't owe them my forgiveness. I didn't owe them $214,000. Because the only people who had ever invested in me unconditionally were a mother named Rachel Morrison and grandparents I would never meet.
Drop a comment right now.
Have you ever discovered a family secret that changed everything? I need to know I'm not alone in this. I stayed at Connor's apartment for 3 days. He gave me his bed. He slept on the floor. He wouldn't let me argue. December 21st. I couldn't stop reading the adoption decree. I must have read it 50 times. Baby girl Morrison became Laura Elizabeth Scott on March 22, 2003 when I was 3 months old. Biological mother Rachel N. Morrison. Date of birth, 1984.
She'd been 18 when she had me.
Biological father, unknown. Her choice not to name him. I Googled her, found her LinkedIn. Freelance graphic designer, Austin, Texas, specializing in nonprofit branding. Her profile photo showed a woman with hazel green eyes. My eyes. The same smile, slightly crooked on the left, the same hands in her portfolio photos, long fingers, same nail beds. She'd been 3 hours and 20 minutes away this whole time. December 22nd, Connor finally told me everything. I found it all on November 15th, he said. Mom and Dad asked me to review their estate plan.
I'm a
lawyer. It made sense. I was going through files in Dad's office safe and found a folder labeled Laura Adoption. I thought it was health records when I saw the decree.
He stopped.
Laura, I couldn't breathe. Then I found the trust account statements. 216 monthly payments, $2,400 each. I did the math, $518,400. And I remembered my law school tuition, my BMW, our family's investment properties. It all came from you, from your biological family's sacrifice. He looked at me. I wanted to tell you immediately, but your thesis defense was November 22nd, a week away. You were so close to graduating. I couldn't destroy you right before your achievement. And then I kept hoping they'd cancel the dinner. That maybe they'd feel guilty. When I came over December 18th and saw Dad rehearsing that slideshow, practicing his speech, I knew they were really going to humiliate you. If I told you privately, they'd gaslight you. They'd say I was lying. I needed witnesses, public witnesses. I needed 120 people to see the truth, so they couldn't deny it. His guilt was crushing him. Connor had benefited from my biological family's money. About $170,000 total, $90,000 for law school, $45,000 for the BMW, $35,000 to help with his condo down payment in 2023. I'm setting things right, he said. I promise. He broke down the legal reality for me that afternoon. Attorney mode, clinical. The money was legally theirs. The trust agreement gave my adoptive parents full discretion as long as I was being adequately cared for. That's a low bar. They kept me fed, clothed, housed, but demanding I repay them for costs already covered by the trust. That could be fraud, extortion. The promissory note was signed under false pretenses. I didn't know about the trust. That made it voidable. Hiding Rachel's letter wasn't illegal, but it was unconscionable. You could sue, Connor said. You'd win morally, but the legal system is slow, expensive, painful. You'd win morally, but lose emotionally.
Don't sue, he said.
Cut them off. That's the real punishment. The family started calling. Aunt Diane left a voicemail on December 21st. Laura, I always wondered. It didn't look like them. I asked Elizabeth once when you were about 5 if you were adopted. She got so angry, told me never to ask again. I should have pushed harder. I'm so sorry. You're cousins and I want to see you. We love you. And Michael and Elizabeth aren't welcome at our house anymore. Grandma Helen called, crying. You were always my granddaughter, blood or not. What they did is unforgivable. Uncle Thomas, Uncle Jeffrey, Elizabeth's sisters, 8 cousins, 50+ missed calls, most of them supporting me. My parents' friends from the country club started distancing themselves. The charity board quietly asked my father to step aside. On December 23rd, Elizabeth's book club memberships weren't renewed. Dr. Hernandez called me December 22nd. Take all the time you need. That job is waiting for you in March. And Laura, you're going to be an incredible therapist. You understand pain now. For 3 days, I stared at Rachel's email address. The one from the letter Connor had found. RachelDesigns@gmail.com. I drafted 17 emails, deleted them all. Draft 1. December 24th. Dear Rachel, my name is Laura Scott. I just found out you're my biological mother. I'd like to meet you. Too cold.
Delete.
Draft 8. January 2nd. Rachel, I'm so sorry it took me 23 years to write this. I didn't know you existed until 2 weeks ago. My adoptive parents hid your letter. I want to know you. Please write back. Too desperate.
Delete.
Draft 17. January 5th, 9:30 p.m. Hi, Rachel. I don't know how to start this. I just found out 3 weeks ago that you exist. My brother Connor discovered adoption documents and told me at my graduation dinner on December 20th. I've been trying to find the right words ever since. I know you sent a letter in June 2024. I never got it. My adoptive parents hid it from me. I only found out when Connor showed it to me. I'm so sorry you've been waiting. I read your letter 50 times. You said you'd love to meet for coffee. I'd really like that if the offer still stands. I'm moving to Austin in March for a job. Maybe we could meet then, or sooner if you want. No pressure. Just I'd like to know you if you still want to know me. Laura, at 11:48 p.m. on January 5th, 2026, I hit send. Connor sat up with me, made tea, didn't say anything, just sat there while I checked my email every 5 minutes. At 7:22 a.m. on January 7th, she responded, Laura, I've been staring at my inbox since June 2024, hoping to see your name. When your email came through last night, I cried for an hour. I've been waiting for this message since December 15th, 2002, the day I held you for 2 hours in the hospital before they took you to your new family. I have so much to tell you, so much I want you to know about your grandparents, about why I chose adoption, about how I've thought about you every single day for 23 years. Yes, the coffee offer still stands. It will always stand. I don't care if it's March or tomorrow. Whenever you're ready, I'm here. I've always been here. I'm so sorry your adoptive parents did this to you. You deserved better. You deserved to know you were loved because you were Laura. You will always have been. Rachel, I read it and started crying. Over the next 3.5 weeks, we exchanged 52 emails. She told me about being 17 and pregnant, about how her parents, my biological grandparents, had sat her down and said, "We saved $60,000 for your college. We're giving it to her instead." They'd redirected their entire savings, then contributed from their retirement for the remaining years. About $400,000 from them over 18 years. Rachel contributed about $118,000 from working 2 jobs, waitressing and retail, while going to college, $518,400 total. They died in 2019, Rachel wrote in one email. Car accident on I-35. They were 62 and 64. They never got to meet you, but they talked about you constantly. They had your newborn photo from the hospital. They hoped someday you'd reach out. Their dying wish was, make sure Laura knows she was loved. I cried when I read that. Grandparents who loved me before they ever met me, who gave up their retirement, who died never knowing if I'd ever know about their sacrifice. On January 18th, 2026, I met my adoptive parents at a lawyer's office in Austin, Caldwell and Associates, the same firm that had managed the original adoption and trust account. Janet Caldwell, 62, mediated. Connor came with me for support. I had 3 demands. 1. Formal apology. My father refused. My mother said nothing. 2. Destroy the promissory note. They agreed. 3. Never contact me again. They agreed. 4. Written acknowledgement that my biological family paid $518,400. My father refused. My mother reluctantly signed. My father tried to justify it. We gave you a life, a home. We didn't have to adopt you. You didn't adopt me out of love. I said, you adopted me for $2,400 a month. You saw a paycheck, not a daughter. And when the money stopped in 2020, you waited 5 years for me to graduate so you could collect twice. That's not parenting. That's a business transaction. And my mother broke down, crying. We did love you. Then why the slideshow? I asked. Why hide Rachel's letter? Why did Connor get $130,000 for school and I got nothing? She couldn't answer. Connor slammed his hand on the table. You got $518,400 over 18 years. You spent maybe $80,000 on Laura after the support stopped in 2020. You're still $438,400 in profit, and you wanted $300,000 more from her. Janet Caldwell, the attorney, spoke up. The trust agreement was fulfilled legally, but ethically, you failed this child. My father signed the promissory note destruction with a shaking hand. We left. Connor told me afterward about Grandma Helen, Elizabeth's mother, who had died in 2023. She'd left Connor $150,000 to help him buy his condo. He'd used $50,000. He had $100,000 left. I'm putting it in a trust for you, he said. Grandma would have wanted it that way. She loved you even when her daughter didn't. Over the next 3 weeks, I watched my parents' world collapse. January 28th, my father was asked to resign from the Plano Children's Foundation Charity Board. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. February 3rd, my mother was forced to resign as a nonprofit director. Personal reasons. The board statement said February 5th. Their country club membership wasn't renewed. 90% of extended family cut them off. Connor's law firm partners distanced themselves from my father, who'd been a former colleague. On February 8th, I received one final email from my father, unapologetic, blaming me for destroying the family. You were always ungrateful, he wrote. Connor turned against us because of your lies. On February 10th, I blocked them both. Email, phone, social media. I didn't need their apology. I didn't need their money. I just needed to stop waiting for them to love me the way I deserved. February 12th, 2026. 7 p.m. First phone call with Rachel. 3 hours and 18 minutes. Laura, there's something you need to know about your grandparents, she said. Her voice was warm, kind. My parents. When I told them I was pregnant at 17, they didn't kick me out. They sat me down at the kitchen table and said, "We saved $60,000 for your college. We're giving it to her instead." They saw it as a gift, an investment in you. They loved you before they ever met you. She told me about working 2 jobs while going to college, about moving to Austin in 2020. I wanted to be closer to where you went to college. I knew UT Austin was there. I hope maybe I'd run into you someday. She never married. I dated, but it never felt right. You were always my priority. Even though I couldn't be your mom, she never had other children. You were my daughter. I didn't want anyone to replace you. We talked every Thursday evening after that, for weekly calls, 2 to 3 hours each. On February 25th, I signed a lease for an apartment in Austin. 1 bedroom, $1,200 a month near Zilker Park, 20 minutes from Rachel's place. I moved in on February 28th. Connor helped me, renting a U-Haul, driving 3 hours and 20 minutes to help me carry boxes up 3 flights of stairs. On March 2nd, I started my job at Austin Family Counseling. My first client was a 9-year-old girl, adopted, struggling with identity. I cried in my car after that session. I knew exactly how she felt. March 15th, 2026. 10 a.m. Mozart's Coffee Roasters on Lake Austin. Connor drove me. He waited at a separate table, giving us space, but staying close. I got there 15 minutes early. Too nervous to be late. Rachel arrived exactly on time. She was carrying a cardboard box. We saw each other, stood 3 feet apart, staring. Laura, she said, "That's all, just my name." And then she started crying. I started crying. We hugged for 5 minutes straight, both of us sobbing. Strangers at nearby tables watched, probably wondering what was happening. When we finally sat down, I could see it. The physical resemblance. Same hazel green eyes, same smile. Crooked on the left, same hands, same height, same laugh. A woman at the next table leaned over. "Are you 2 sisters?" "No," Rachel said, smiling through tears. "She's my daughter." Rachel opened the box. 23 birthday letters. 1 for every year, never sent. "I wrote you every year on December 15th. She said I couldn't send them because of the adoption agreement, but I wrote them anyway, so you'd know I never forgot." She pulled out the hospital photo. Newborn me, Rachel holding me, looking down at my face with an expression I'd never seen on my adoptive mother's face. Pure love, the ultrasound image, 20-week scan. My hospital bracelet. Baby girl Morrison, December 15th, 2002. Photos of my biological grandparents holding newborn me. A nurse had taken them. My grandmother's face. I had her eyes. My grandfather's smile crooked on the left just like mine. "They loved you so much," Rachel said. "They talked about you all the time. Wondered what you were like, if you were happy, if you were safe." We talked for 6 hours. She read me excerpts from the birthday letters. Age 1. "I wonder if you're walking yet." Age 10. "I hope you love reading as much as I do." Age 18. "You're an adult now. I hope you're kind to yourself." Age 21. "I can write to you now, but I'm scared. What if you don't want to know me?" By the time we left, it was 4 p.m. 6 hours felt like 6 minutes. "Can I be in your life?" Rachel asked as we stood to leave. "Not as a replacement mom, just as someone who loves you." "You already are," I said. Over the next 2 weeks, we met twice more. Weekly coffee dates. March 18th, Rachel met Jessica and Dr. Hernandez. March 22nd, Connor joined us for dinner. The 3 of us together for the first time. Connor apologized to Rachel. "I benefited from money meant for Laura."
"I'm sorry. You're making it right now."
Rachel said, "That's what matters." On March 25th, Rachel introduced me to her close friends. "This is my daughter, Laura." She said, "We're reconnecting after 23 years.
Daughter.
I cried in the bathroom after hearing her say it. Today is March 28th, 2026. 3 months and 8 days since that dinner at the mansion. I've been thinking a lot about what family means. I spent 23 years believing I wasn't enough, that I had to earn love by being perfect, by being grateful, by being invisible. Rachel taught me something. My adoptive parents never could. Love isn't transactional. It's not a debt. It's not a slideshow. It's sacrifice. It's $518,400 earned through redirected college funds and retirement savings so your daughter can have a chance. It's 23 years of unanswered letters because you respect boundaries. It's waiting for a phone call you're not sure will ever come. It's loving someone enough to let them go, even when it breaks your heart. My name is Laura Scott. I'm 23 years old, and I finally know what it feels like to be someone's daughter. Not because of obligation, not because of money, but because I was wanted always. If this story touched you, please subscribe and share it.
And
remember, family isn't who raised you. It's who loved you enough to sacrifice everything, even their own happiness, for yours. Thank you for listening.